Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, welcome to the tube. Hope you're well today, hope you're feeling grand, and also in your world. Hello there. I've had a few requests for this video, actually. The latest one coming from my good friend Henry, who you will see, no doubt, in short order. But anyway, more about that in a week or so. Haha. Yes. Amps. How many amps do you own, Dave? Can we see them? I've had that a few times. So yeah, I thought I would show you around all my amps today, apart from one, which is sat there, which you're not allowed to see just yet, I'm afraid. You'll see it in due course, but not just yet. So yeah, I'll just show you around my amps, tell you some of the stories about them, where I got them, and this, that, and the other. So yeah, let's get to it, shall we? Okay, I've mysteriously moved. Whoa, scary. Anyway, weird. Yes. Let's start here. Let's start in the cove. Let's start with the amps I've got in here. So apart from the secret one, which you're not allowed to see just yet. Okay. So first off, the amp you just heard is this one. It's just a Marshall MG. As you all know by now, I am an MG fanatic. I own 4 of them. I might have a problem. No, I own 5 of them. I definitely have a problem. So yeah, it's just an MG. It's one of the older ones with the chrome grille cover. It's not one with the kind of like the chassis cut-out grille cover. Sorry, it's the older 2004-2005 model with the chrome grille cover. So this one I bought from my friend Andy last year. Odd enough, a YouTube follower said, "Oh, you should check out this guy. He makes MGs into plexi boxes," which is something I'd wanted to do for years and years and years, and never found anybody who could do it. And then lo and behold, a good trend YouTube follower forwarded me to Andy, and then I went and bought this one that very night. I was like, I need one of them immediately, and I went, and he had a red one of these, and this one, which is kind of like it's like a later 70s Mark II plexi Tolex. It's not the smooth kind of Tolex you get on like the early Super Leads. It's like the older like Mark II Super Leads from the 70s. So that's what this one is. I say nothing modded at all. People ask all the time, are your MGs modded? No, they're not. They're totally stock. I don't need to mod them. One thing I will note is though, this chassis is not out of the MG100 head. It's out of the MG100 combo, so it's the DFX chassis. It doesn't really differ to me, I don't think. The only difference is there's only one speaker output on the back instead of 2. So that's that one. It's just a 2004-2005 Plexi, or as my friend Mark Wright dubbed them, the Flexi, which is exactly what they are. So that's that one. Middle amp is exactly the same thing, but this was, should I say, the MG100 HDFX. This was a head. I actually bought this off Joe's brother a while back, and I used this one a lot. I really love this one. It's really cool. It hasn't got as much gain as this one. This one's got a lot more gain and a lot more. On OD1 it sounds a bit more kind of slashy, where OD2 on this sounds like slash, whereas OD2 on this sounds a little bit more. It's a little bit cleaner. It doesn't have as much distortion, this one. But same thing again, not modded. It's just the difference is, again, it's two speaker inputs in the back. Again, it's got the chrome grille on the back. They're my favourite ones. I do have a 2007 or 8. I don't know which one it is, but the one without the chrome grille cover. I do have one downstairs, and we'll get to that in a bit. But I do prefer the one with the chrome grille. I don't know why. I just have an affinity. I think they sound a little bit better. But again, that could have been neurotic, as us guitarists tend to be. So again, not modded. Just put in a plexi style head case. Head case like me. Anyway, and yeah, that's that. And yeah, that's that one. And then we have the glorious orange CL120 over there, everybody, which needs no introduction. It is what it is, and I love it to bits. And, it's just the best thing in the world. It's these amps. It's just like, yeah, that's it for me. I'm happy. I'm a very happy fellow. One day I'll run all 3. That would be immense. On the dirty channels, all cranked up to 10. That'd be evil. I think the world would implode. Anyway, so yeah, Orange CL120 does what it says on the tin. Absolutely awesome amp. I absolutely adore the CL120. Like I say, the MG and the CL120 are just my happy place. They have been, I say, the MG's been my happy place for years. When the CL120 came along, it just added another one onto that. So these are my desert island amplifiers, definitely. Let's talk about cabs quick, because I get quite a few questions about like what cabs do I use in here and live and stuff. So the two Marshall cabs you see, this one here and this one here, I've had forever. They're JCM 900 cabs, and they're totally stock. They've just got the Celestion G12T, G1275T. I think that's what they are. They're a black and white speaker, a 75-watt speaker. And they're my favourite cabs in the world, the JCM 900 cabs. I absolutely adore the sound of them. I love the sound of the speakers. I love the fact you can run them in stereo. I love the fact you can run them at 4 ohm, 16 ohm and 8 ohm. They're just the best cab to me. I just love them to bits. And that speaker is my happy place again. So that's these cabs. They're just JCM 900s. I've had them since 2007, somewhere around there, 2007, 2008. I've had them for quite a long time now, these two cabs. The cab the Orange CL120 sat on is just the bog standard Orange compact cab, the PPC something, I don't know, it's a compact one. It's got the Voice of the World speakers in it. And I don't gig it very regularly with that cab. I tend to gig it with another cab, just because the Orange cab is so heavy, it kills your back. But I do gig it every now and again with the Orange cab, and I have done for a long time. And the Voice of the World speakers are starting to break in now and sound really awesome. So that's what's in here. I say just Marshall MG, CL120, Marshall standard compact cab, Marshall JCM 900 A and B cab, because I can double stack them if I like. And I love double stacks, but I just can't carry them around anymore. I'm getting old and I need roadies to do that kind of thing, and I don't have roadies. I used to carry 2 double stacks to every gig. But, you know, such is life. Oh yeah, and, well, actually, yeah, so that's the main amps I use in here and live. I tend to kind of like flit. It depends how I feel on the day of what I use live. Sometimes I'll want to go to the CL120, sometimes I want to use the MG, sometimes I want to use another amp. It varies on how I feel. So, let's move on to some combos now in this room. Just realised I didn't have my other light on, but hopefully you can see everything. It might get lighter all of a sudden in here. Okay, so next amp to show you is this one. You've seen it. Well, I've demoed it and seen it. You've seen it a few times. This is my old 70s audition amp. It's a Tysco factory amp, and it's super thin, and it bends. You can actually press it in, and it bends. It's like ridiculously thin wood, but this is like one of those little secret weapon amps that where you'd have in the studio and you'd use on a track, and people would go, "What is that amp? What is that amp?" It sounds really, you know, it's got a real cool sound to it, this has. I have put gaffer tape over the speaker, Stevie Ray Vaughan style. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there's a cross in there. That's just gaffer tape. It just calms down the high end of the amp. It's a very, very trebly amp, and it has one setting, which is all, everything on 10, or just don't bother. So it's basically a case of just wind it up, tone all the way up, volume all the way up, that's all it's got, and play. That's all, and that is literally it. And there's 3 inputs. They're not wired any differently, but there is a varying degrees of gain in them. So input 1 here is kind of cleanish. It's never really, this amp isn't clean, it's quite distorted. Input 2 is a little bit more gain, and then input 3 is my favourite with most gain, as I'm a gain fanatic. So that's another amp I've got in here. It's just it just sits down there, and I love it to bits. And let's plug it in quickly. Okay, so it does tend to hiss, but I say this is the only setting you'll ever need. Is just tone all the way up, volume all the way up. Okay, so moving on to the combo wall pyramid thing that we have over here. These are some other amps. This Marshall MG here and this Marshall MG here are Joe's. These two aren't mine. This is Joe's first ever amp, and this is Joe's second ever amp. And I'm not a big fan of the old MGs, but this one sounds immense. I love that one. Above that, this is a custom KG A10. I've demoed all these amps that you'll see, so they're on my channel somewhere. But this amp is ridiculous. It cost me £20 from a local second-hand shop, and it's literally one of the best 10-watt amps I've ever played for it. It doesn't sound like a 10-watt amp, and you can run it into a 412 and it sounds humongous. It's amazing. I absolutely adore this amp to bits. It's really cool, and I really want to recover it in tweed. I don't know why, I just have this overwhelming urge to tweed it, to Fender it, but it's awesome. I can't recommend these enough for like round the house messing around amps, and I say I have demoed this many years ago now, good gravy, but it's an awesome amp. So that's that. Moving along to the other side, actually start here, Mini Marshall double stack, Black Star Fly up top end. We have my first ever amp, the PV Rage amp here, which again I adore to bits, sounds immense, great amp. Another amazing amp that's very rare that I can't seem to find another one, is the Marshall Master Reverb 30. This is an amazing amp, and I use this one absolutely loads for gigs where I don't have to be too, if I can't be too loud and the place I'm playing is a little bit small, I'll invariably take this thing. Because I absolutely love it. It's just a single channel amp. Like I say, I've got a demo on this amp, but it's amazing. It's a single 10-inch speaker, 30 watts, awesome reverb. It's just one of those perfect amps. And I don't really like using combos live. I like 412 cabs, but this one is a big sound. It sounds absolutely immense. And then at the bottom is my Carlsberg GLX 100, and this is my second ever amp. I started out, if you've seen my video of how I started out my PV Rage, but when we found out this wasn't loud enough to gig with, we went and got this from the same shop where I actually bought my first ever guitar and the PV Rage from, and it's a 100-watt single 12-inch Celestion speaker, two channels. And I love it to bits. That amp and that amp, well actually all these amps will be with me forever. But I learned to play through this. I learned to play through probably this more than I learned to play through this, but I couldn't part with this if I had to. It's just got too much meaning and history with me. I absolutely adore it to bits. And it sounds immense, and it's so loud it'll stun a donkey at 50 feet. Donk! Oh! Exactly like that, trust me. I've seen it happen. You know, they just keel over. But yeah, that's my Carlsberg GLX. That's my second ever amp, and I love it to bits. And yeah, couldn't be without it, everybody. So yeah, that's the kind of like the combo triangle, if you will. And that's all the amps in this room, apart from the secret one, which I can't show you. I did have a Fender Tweed mini amp, the Mini Twin, but I gave that away because it's just a paperweight. It's not an amp. It's a thing. It looks nice, but I didn't want it, so I gave it away. I gave it to my sister actually. She's got it as an ornament in her house, and it looks really cool. But that's all it does. It looks cool. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to more. Okay, I have literally amps all over the house, by the way. So we're downstairs now, out the way of the other amplifiers. We're downstairs to the other amplifiers, and then we'll go to another amplifier. I literally have amps all over the house. It's just it's a bit ridiculous. But you store them when you can. Anyway, I don't know that. Anyway, yes, this is when I got this. Well, when I commissioned for this to be made, should I say? I thought it'd be really cool, but I didn't realise how cool, and I really didn't realise how much I would love it when I got it. this is my Blues Faker amp. If you've seen the demo, it's just a Marshall MG head chassis again. There's a pattern emerging. Rehoused in a Blues Breaker cabinet. It's a 212. It's just got the Celestion MG speakers in it, these 65-watt speakers, which I absolutely adore as well. They're my other favourite speaker next to the 75 Celestians. The MG 65-watt speakers are amazing. And this amp I am using more and more live recently than any other, because there's, I don't know, there's something about it, that's kind of like, it's making me very happy recently. I go between amps like nobody's business. I'll go between the CR120 and the MG, and then the Master Reverb, and then the Carlsberg, and you know what it's like being a guitarist. We can never just kind of like, we're very strange creatures, and we like to go from one thing to another every now and again and just like change things and see how it goes. So yeah, the only thing I don't change actually is my pedal board. Amps, guitars kind of change in and out, but pedal board does kind of stays the same. I've actually got it's smaller now, but anyway, digressing. I love digressing, don't I? Anyway, yeah, so it's a Marshall MG head chassis in the Blues Breaker box. I love the look of a Blues Breaker. I think it's one of the most iconic, stylish looking amps that's ever been made. I really do. I don't know, there's just something about the Blues Breaker that's extremely posh looking. Way too posh for me to be playing through, really, let's be honest. But I love it to bits. And again, this was built by my good friend Andy at FA Guitar Cabs, and the man is a genius. How he made the MG chassis fit in and everything, and it's amazing. And it's already getting some war wounds on it, this thing. I've used it a lot, and I love it. I absolutely love it to bits. It's absolutely amazing, and it sounds great. Oh yeah, the MG chassis though is a later model in this one. It's got it doesn't have the chrome grill fan. This is the only one I don't. This is the only one I have that doesn't have the chrome grill fan. This one's got the it's like a cutout in the chassis. Basically, that's all it is. It's not got an attached grill fan. It's just a cutout in the chassis. But it sounds immense, and it's super loud. Did a gig with it the other night. On the Friday night, I used this, and I had the amp on free all night, and it was towering above the drummer and the bass player without being mic'd up. So you know, that's super loud amplifiers. And again, with the two speakers, it just gives a really big sound in comparison to one speaker. So so yeah, that's the Blues Faker. That's one of my other amps. So let's move on to another amp. Okay, here we go again. Orange. Can you tell I'm a creature of habit yet? This is the CR60 that you recently saw that demo that Orange very kindly give me, and I ain't got the words to describe that. That is beyond me. It's just unreal. So you know, thank you Orange so much for this amp. I absolutely adore it. This is kind of like one of those amps that I'm going to use tons for gigging as well. Again, I think this is going to take the place of a Master Reverb. I'll kind of like give a Master Reverb some time off for those kind of like small gigs where the venue isn't very big and I can't fit the Blues Faker, or like say the Orange CR120 or the MG with a 412 cab in. That's where this one will come in, and I intend to use it a lot. It's actually kind of like my go-to plug-in and play amp at this point in time. It's just no effects, just plug in and play and just mess around with it and have fun while I'm watching telly, or just wanting to annoy Joe, really, more than anything. This is my annoying Joe amp, everybody. But yeah, I love this amp so much. I have recently changed the speaker. I wanted to see if it made any difference. I've changed it to a Marshall. No, sorry, not Marshall. A Celestion. What am I on about? I've changed it to a Celestion 70-watt speaker. And again, I do like the Voice of the World speakers, but they're a bit more like a vintage 30 kind of sound, and they've got this kind of this certain frequency that I don't really like. I don't know, there's something that doesn't appeal to me about it. So I've changed it out recently to this 75-watt Celestion, and it's kind of like smoothed that. It's got rid of that frequency, and you know, and it sounded immense before, but I love it even more now just because it's got this little bit smoother response to it than the voice of a world speaker. The voice of a world speaker is immense. Don't get me wrong, I really do like those speakers, but the Celestion speakers have something in them that they don't have, and at the end of the day, if it's not right, if it doesn't if there's something there that's kind of niggling at me or you or anything, you know, you need to do something kind of like change that, because it can kind of like it can lead to an annoyance in a way. But I love this amp to bits. It's absolutely immense sounding. So well, let me show you quick. Okie dokie, we're on to the final amp. I'm sorry about the glare of it. It's like being in a Star Trek movie, isn't it? But it's right in the window, this one is, and I can't seem to get the lighting right for it to look right, so I do apologise for the glare. But this is the final amp, and this is my white Strat amp. This is my #1 amp that I measure all other amps by. Even including things like the Carlsbro and the PV Bandit, the PV Rage to an extent. I just had to sell my PV Bandit, when I'm good about, so that's why it's not in the list, as I no longer have it. But needs must when things crop up out of the blue. But this is my #1 amp. I got this new in 2004 for my birthday. It was a present. My dad bought me this for my birthday in 2004. I've been 18. Yes, I got it when I was 18. And I'm 106 now. No, I'm joking. But anyway, obviously, anyway, God, I'm stupid. Anyway, yeah, I got this brand new in 2004 from a local guitar shop called Musicality, where I got like everything from. I got my white Strat from there. I got so much stuff from there, and I miss it, and I miss the owner a lot. A lot of good times, a lot of good chats, and a lot of fun happened in that shop. But time goes on, doesn't it? Unfortunately, I'm getting all philosophical and getting depressing, Dave. Lift the spirits. Yes. So this is my Marshall MG 100 HDFX with matching MG cab, and I do have the B cab to this as well. But it's upstairs in the attic. And I've also got another Marshall cab. It's that old battered 70s Marshall cab, but it's got no speakers in it at this point in time. That's just excuse me, that's just out of the way. But this is where things started to change for me, this amp. This is where I discovered that I love 412 cabs and I love 100 watt heads. And this was life changing. As much as that probably sounds really silly to say, it really was. Like this, I have played through this amp every day since I got it. I am positive I have played through this amp pretty much every day since I've got it. I love it to bits, and it's the 2004 model. It's a bit dusty. I need to clean it. It's the one again. It has the chrome grill grill cover on the back, and it's just. I mean, I have used it a lot. I mean, if you ever get to see it up close and personal, it's seeing the war. There's chips out of it. There's all sorts of other stuff. At one point, I had the Marshall logo off, and I had some stickers and stuff on the front of it. The amp's actually called the Fish. I don't really name things, but this amp is called the Fish. because two good friends of mine made me this. I'll get a picture. I'll show you it in a minute. But two good friends of mine made me this cardboard cutout of a fish, and the story of that I won't go into because it's a long story. But two good friends of mine, unfortunately, which I've lost contact with, made me this fish kind of thing, and I had it here for years and years and years, and it's actually just inside behind the logo now. I still have it, but it's just inside. But I put the logo back on recently. Well, it's been on for quite a while. Both these logos were sprayed black at one point. I had them spray painted black. It looked really cool, but then I decided to put them back to white. But they are dirty now. They're filthy. I've done a lot to them. To this amp, sorry. I've still got a picture of a friend drew me there as well, who I'm still in contact with. But I don't know why I need to say that. But anyway. Yeah, I've done a lot to this amp. I scratched off all the lettering on the clean channel, and on certain things I don't use, like the contour lettering, I scratched off because I was like, I'm never going to use that. And then later on in life, I had to draw them back in on the clean channel because I started to really love the clean channel on these MGs. So I was like, the follies of youth, everybody. But I like that though, because that's a point in time that I did that, and I think it's really cool. But yeah, I've done so many gigs with this. I've done so many hours of learning and playing and finding a sound, and this was where I found that sound. That I had a sound in my head after about a year of playing. I had a sound in my head of what I wanted, and it wasn't until I got this amp, and it was a year after a year after I got this amp, I found it. And that was when I found that I needed to use the OD1 channels on these amps and use overdrive channels instead of clean channels to get my sound, and run the gain low, and certain other things, and never use treble. That was when I realised that, and that was it. And this is like I say, this is my number one amp. If every amp had to go, this would be the one I'd be left with, because of the attachment to it and the hours I've spent playing for it, even more so than the Carlsbro and the PV Rage and my other MGs and even the Orange CR120. I've played through this one constantly since 2004. You know, this is the amp that if every amp I get is a comparison to this. If it sounds great, if it sounds good with this, then it's a great amp. If it doesn't sound good with this, then I don't really want to know. I always say, like, I am a creature of habit, where, like, you know, if I know what I want and I know what I'm kind of after, and if it doesn't do it, I don't really want it. So this is the amp that holds that sound most, and I just love it. And it's just my number one. It's my go-to amp. It's with this cab as well. This is what I got bought all those years ago. But yeah, this is my number one, and this is the last amp on the list of amplifiers. I don't actually have a great deal of amps. I've got quite a few, but they all get used one way or another. They all get used. I don't have. If I have an amp that's kind of, I had a few amps that kind of like sat around, like a couple of years ago. I had a few amps that I just had sat around and I wasn't using. I had a Marshall Plexi. I had a small box 50-watt Plexi sat around. I used it a lot, but it fell out of favour with me because it was just really. It wasn't unreliable, but playing in pubs with it, the voltage, it kept sending it funny. Difference in power and whatnot, being a valve amp, and I eventually sold that. I had a high watt that I never used. I used a bit and then I sold that. And I had a couple other amps. I had a Fender Stage, a Fender Frontman, and a couple other amps that kind of like I got, and then they didn't do kind of what I wanted them to do. Apart from the Fender Stage, which I still wish I had. I sold the Fender Stage because I needed the money at the time, and it was a really silly mistake on my part. I had the Fender Stage in a high watt at that time, and I chose to keep a high watt, and I should have done it the way around and kept the Fender, because that Fender Stage was like one of my most favourite amps I've ever played through, and I to this day, if one comes up for sale, I'm buying it. It's going to be like one of those things. But it was the Stage 100 DSP. It had a lot of inbuilt effects, a four button foot switch, and you could have like different reverbs and different delays and choruses and all sorts of stuff. It was immense, and I loved it to bits. And one day I'll hopefully get another one, and that'll be a happy day. But coming back to this one, like I say, this is my number one amp. This is literally what made me go, that's the sound I want, and that's just it. That's it. You know, if it doesn't sound like that, I'm not interested. So, it's a bit narrow-minded, but I'm at the end of the day, it's about what you want. Playing guitar and playing music is all about what you want. It's not about what Joe Bloggs down the road wants, or Inky Billy down the road or the other way wants. It's about what you want and what works for you. And I've had a lot of amps. I had a JCM 800 for a while, 50 watt, and I didn't get on with that. That went. I've got footage of me playing through that one. I might upload it to YouTube one day. I used it a few times, but I also had a Marshall VS 100, Valve State 100 head and cab, and that was another one of those amps which I absolutely adored to pieces. But again, I had to sell at the time because of certain things that came along, and I needed the money and I had to sell it. But the Marshall VS amp was one of the best amps, again, I've ever played through. It wasn't a million miles off the MG, and I had that for years, and that was my backup for this amp. And I gigged both of them extensively, a lot. They were kind of like my main go-to amps. And I say, this amp has been gigged as well. I've gigged this so many venues, so many hours playing through these speakers. This setup just sounds. It's just the sound that's in my head. This setup is, and like I say, it's the one that I compare everything else to. But anyway, I think I've waffled on enough about that. So yeah, this is the last amp. This is my Marshall MG from 2004. I think it's the first year of MGs, but I could be totally wrong. But yeah, let me show you the fish. There he is. That's the fish, everybody. That's why the amp's called the fish. And also we have I don't know if you can see, but I have a Jimi Hendrix there. Where is he? There he is. Ah! There's a I thought I'd quickly show you this, actually. This is my battered and beaten Marshall cab that Joe got for me, actually. It was in an old hat, and Joe got it for me. It was empty at the time. There was no speakers in it, and there is no speakers in it now, but every now and again I'll put speakers in it, and it's probably like one of the best sounding cabs like I've got. It just sounds immense. I also used to have a Marshall AX cab, but I traded that for something else. But well, I actually traded it back. I sold my Marshall JCM 900B cab to a friend of mine, and then I wasn't getting on with the Marshall AX I bought. I had the AX cab for a while and I wasn't getting on with it, and I traded it back for the JCM 900. So that B cab came back in to my life, and I'm so glad it did, because I've missed it. I missed it a lot while I didn't have it. It was gone for maybe about a year and 2 years or something like that, and now I've got it back, and I've had both of those JCM 900 cabs forever. But this cab looks immense, and I'm sure the damage is from somebody putting a guitar through it. Like I say, it's an old 1970s cab. It's the checkerboard kind of grill off, but it's seen wear. It's seen some use, and they say there's no Tolex on the bottom whatsoever. It's all gone, and I say it looks like somebody put a guitar in there, absolutely ripped it to bits. A little bit of the guitar went in there, what was left, and then a little bit of what was left of the guitar went in there, and that was that. These were a pair, actually, in an old hat. There was the A cab to this as well upstairs, and I wish I'd been able to get my hands on that one as well and have them as a pair. That'd have been really, really cool, because the A cab that sat on top of this one was trashed as well, but again, it had no speakers in it at the time, so it'd have been nice to have the sets, I say. But Beggars can't be choosers. But anyway, yeah. So okay, so yeah, that's all my amplifiers over here. So apart from the secret one, which is just there, but you will see that in due course, I promise you. Oh, and also I've got another Marshall MG cab. It's a B cab, but it's in the attic and a little bit difficult to get to right now. But yeah, other than that, that's it. The other stuff I have is just PA amplifiers. I've got, like, you know, it's just kind of PA stuff and stuff for gigging and speakers, stuff like that. But other than that, that's all the guitar related stuff. So do I have anything else? No, I don't. No, that is everything. So just making sure. Yeah, that is definitely all of them. Okay, so yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Kind of a little amp tour 2018. It'll probably change in another year. I might have more, I might have less, but we will see. Time will tell. As we all know, it's, you know, everyone gets the GAS syndrome at some point. I've got to have one. But like I said, I would love to have a Fender Stage 100 DSP amp again. I really miss that amp. And I also had another amp I wish I still had. It was never mine, but I was borrowing it for a while from Old Hat Guitars. It was a Watson amp. It was by Philipson, and it was this kind of like tweed Fender copy knockoff, and it was a 50. It was something weird like 55 watts or something like that, really weird. But it was a tweed amp, and it was a tweed amp that looked like a Fender but sounded like a Marshall, and it was immense. And that was one of those amps I wish I had again. And I've been looking for one since I left Old Hat. And literally one's come up in that time, and that's it. And I just can't find one. So it's really annoying. And the same for the Fender Stage. I just can't seem to find the Fender Stage. I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. I think I am, but I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, everybody. Yeah, and I will see you again for another video very soon. Q&A Wednesday, everybody. See you then. And yeah, have a great one. Goodbye now.